So welcome everyone. We had a fabulous start yesterday with Gurudev and all the dignitaries and a wonderful day, and so far it has been amazing. Yeah. I would like to welcome you to the most important session of the conference. Because the other moderators are not there, I can take that freedom. Important because, well, you are here. Important because, we have a fabulous, lineup here at the panel. And also because we are talking about sports ethics, we are talking about children, and we are talking about education. How many of you have done some sort of gardening or worked with plants dirtied your hands in the soil? Okay. Then you know that for a good plant or a tree to grow, you need to have the right seed planted in the right soil at the right time. So here the right seed is that of sports and ethics. And the right place to do it is in the fertile minds of children. And the right time is when they are young. We catch them when they are young. So how we can integrate this whole idea of sports and ethics into the education of various countries, into our planet itself, this is what the topic of our discussion is today. And I would like to introduce the panelists. On my extreme right is Peter Marty. He is the chairman of Marty Online Solutions. He's been CEO of Ogilvy across Europe, and he is the founding member, partner, board member of the World Ethics, World Forum of Ethics in Business, also World Forum for Ethics in Sports as well. He's had many distinctions, the Entrepreneur of the Year in Switzerland. He's had gold and silver and bronze medals at the Cannes Film Festival. So a very distinguished panelist, Peter Marty. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. Then on my right is Stefan Kraus. I've been trying to pronounce Stefan. He is, though he has degree in business administration, he has his own tax consulting firm, but his passion is about sports and how sports affects the community at large. So he's been the member since 2010 of the One FC Union Berlin and the member of the Economic Council. He's also the member of the board of Foundation Union United, shoulder to shoulder. I love the logo that you have. Where people are shoulder to shoulder, and that's how we need to move ahead. So please give a big round of applause to Stefan Kraus. And on my left is Somil Majumdar. He is an alumni from my university, IIT Bombay. He's graduated from IIM Bangalore. He is an entrepreneur par excellence, and he has been really working in the field of sports. So he was the CEO and co-founder of Edu Sports, which has worked with more than 50,000 students. 5 lakh now. Okay, I've been going. I was going to ask you beforehand. I went through all the websites. Yeah. And how many schools? Okay, the figure I had was 500 schools. So wonderful. That is an amazing reach that he has had. And since 2003, he also started something called Sports Village, which takes the idea of sports and make the young people enjoy sports at the grassroots level. So like we heard in the previous session, how it's not about making them play sports, but making them love sports. Yeah? And that has been Sawmill's, I would say, purpose. He's taking it further in India. Okay, wonderful having Somil. Please give him a big hand. So, without much ado, I would invite Stephen to take over.
Thank you, Dinesh. Check, check.
थोड़ा बढ़ा देना इसको.
Can you give me yours? Thank you, Dinesh, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here, to giving me the opportunity to introduce our club, 1. FC Union Berlin, and our foundation, Union United Shoulder to Shoulder. Uh, Today, uh, let me begin with a short video. It's the video from yesterday, and hopefully we can watch it to the end today.
Can we have each of the speakers to speak for about 7 minutes?
This is our club and our stadium. Uh, by now, our club, 1. FC Union Berlin, is the biggest club in Berlin, the biggest football club, biggest club with more than 45,000 members and hundreds of thousands of fans and supporters. Our team plays successfully in the highest German division, the Bundesliga. And in addition to that, we have qualified for European competition the second year in a row. What is the reason for undoubted success of our club in the last decade? For more than 20 years, people at 1. FC Union experience opportunities to implement their own ideas, to realize themselves with this football club. So people feel accepted, gain more self-confidence, and live a more self-determined life. They can largely be themselves in our union football cosmos. Our club is run by its fans. They have made it successful. The reason why we play in the German top division is not only the players on the pitch, it's the performance of the entire club. In our club, people are encouraged to think and act. They are not primarily seen as consumers. The culture of togetherness is what makes us successful. New ideas are not dictated from above by the club management. They often come from within the club, members, and fans. The club only provides the framework for the ideas to be realized together. This empowers both the club's internal and social cohesion. At the same time, it's an expression of our social responsibility. We want to give something back to society. There are many examples for this commitment. One of these is the stadium renovation in 2008. In 2008, our stadium no longer met the standard of the German Football Association, but the city of Berlin, as owner, did not want to finance a renovation. And so the club's management, the members, and the fans came to an agreement with the Berlin Sports Administration to take over the ownership of the stadium and carry out the reconstruction on their own. Union, which was in the third division at the time, did not have the financial means to do this. So another way had to be found. The fans and members kept their promise for the agreement, and in an exemplary manner, their contribution to the reconstruction for the stadium was 2,000 volunteers were on the site for over 300 construction days. They supported the builders with more than 140,000 hours of work. The created value was over 4 million euros. A little more than a year of construction. In the July of 2009, the stadium was inaugurated. We have a own stadium magazine. Our fans, they have their own newspaper. They produce it under their own direction and responsibility for every home match since 25 years. Every match brings the fans a view of football and society into the stadium. For us, it's also an expression of great co-determination and democracy. But the social work of our club is brought together in our foundation, Union United Shoulder to Shoulder. In accordance with the motto, the strong help the weak, our commitment is based on 4 pillars. First pillar, protection of environment. Football shows consideration. A part of our sponsorship of River Wule, we are actively involved of conserving nature. Twice a year, about 50 of our fans come together to clean up the river and the embankment, to clean the nearby park and paint benches. In addition, we help to generate awareness for Berlin's forests, which have suffered great damage in recent years due to persistent drought, and support Berlin's forest in planting new trees and shrubs. The second pillar is tolerance and integration. Football connects. With our actions for integration and tolerance, we do not only want to set an example, we also want to help people in a concrete way. There are currently many Ukrainian refugees in Berlin, mostly women and children who have fled the terrible war in their homeland. Together with our partners and fans, we have renovated and furnished flats so that we can offer some refugees a dignified home. With our campaign, Eisern statt einsam, we provide food, warm soup, beverages to those in need, often refugees from Syria, Afghanistan, Ukraine, but also for poor people in Germany. The third pillar is healthy and nutrition in sports. Football makes you fit. With our nutrition and sports offer, we awaken the fun of sports and healthy nutrition in children, young people, and adults. The fourth pillar, promoting the education of children and young adults. Football inspires. With our activity in schools, we use this enthusiasm to educate students in areas of communication. We promote tolerance to do vocational trainings. Children play a special role in our commitment. Based on our statutes, the long-standing activities of our youth training center, and especially the created sports promotion department, we are focused on supporting children. Last but not least, the impulses of Dr. Rao Foundation from Switzerland confirm our commitment. During the refugee crisis in 2015, when many refugees from Syria and Afghanistan came to Berlin, we paid special attention to these children and young adults. The goal was to make it easier for young people to integrate into a new living environment and to alleviate their fears. In addition, we want to use our projects to increase the enjoyment of sports and the motivation to attend school. With our project, Welcome to Football, we promoted a faster integration of refugees. We organized weekly football training sessions with coaches from our club and football tournaments. Together with schools, we also offered a special form of German lessons for them. With the campaign Learning with Football, learning German was combined with football. And so for the kids it was easier and more varied. Together with the teachers of the Otto Hahn School, a combination of sports and German lesson was developed. The classes were divided into a German group and a football group. The groups switched after half of learning time. We also hired student teachers to provide one-to-one support for children with a migration background in German lessons to make lessons more effective. The goals of the football group were, in addition to the sporting activity, of course, to teach the values of sports: fair play, concentration, team spirit, motivation, and how to deal with victories and defeats. The goals of the German group were to develop learning techniques and German language. We are very proud of the fact that the first children from refugee families have now graduated German schools. Often they are the first member of their family to do so. Sometimes very small things enrich everyday life. And so children baked and cooked with parents, teachers, and football coaches. This is another way to strengthen integration and tolerance, to promote the discovery of understanding of other cultures. Another cornerstone for combining learning with football are our football pitch projects. We renovate old sports fields into modern football pitches to give children the opportunity to play football. In the mornings, the children use the pitch in school sports, and in the afternoons, we organize football training sessions with coaches. Our goal is to develop the enjoyment of the game and to offer healthy free time activities. The children's physical and motor skills are improved at the same time. But there's also involvement beyond our city borders. In Outstone, South Africa, one of our members has built a sports field where children can play football there as well. Here too, the enthusiasm for sport is to be used to promote school education and building on this vocational training. Many club members and also we as a foundation support the maintenance of this project with regular donations. The future upgrading of the pitch with a solar energy generator will be made possible with support of the Dr. Rau Stiftung from Switzerland. In summary, I would like to state that one task continues to be of central of importance for our foundation. We will perceive our social responsibility through football, and we will shape the idea football for people. Our experience had led us to the realization that football, as we understand and live it, can be indeed a step ahead of society. I would like to finish by showing you a short video about our foundation.
Who would have imagined one little football can do so much? Isn't it? I mean, I have traveled all over the world and met many of the clubs in various sports, but this is so inspiring to be able to connect the communities, to be able to have their ownership to build a big football stadium, and then integrate people from all walks of life and all backgrounds to create such a beautiful, celebration. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, let's give him a big hand. Okay. May I invite now Peter to talk about the topic today.
Microphone? Yes, thank you. I hope you hear me. Thank you for inviting me for this little session. I just begin with the birth of a child. What happens when a child is born? The first thing, exactly, crying, breathing exercise. That's a breathing exercise, basically, to start breathing. So what's next? When a child is starting to walk, to run, what happens to a child then? Yes, it's falling also. It's falling, constantly falling, because it's difficult to stand up and to run. It's a learning process, because the child is learning that the child can fall. This is not a negative aspect. This is something which is part of the life, to fall in life. So the child is standing up and immediately running again. When this summit started, basically 10 years ago, I was invited in Brussels to speak about ethics in communication. It was the World Forum for Ethics in Communication. The same day, I was meeting Gurudev for the first time, and I said to him in the evening, Gurudev, we have to start with the children, because all these business leaders and these politicians, it's good that I hear a lot about ethics, but when they behave already corrupt, or they are already in a bad mood, I think it's a waste of time. So this was the moment where the Summit for Ethics in Sports started, basically, because Gurudev immediately said, yes, this is true, and we have to start with the children, and that's one of the reasons why we have initiated, and Gurudev has initiated the World Forum for Ethics in Sports. Stefan was explaining a little bit about the Dr. Rau Stiftung helping this project. Dr. Rau Stiftung is also helping here a little bit. I'm the chairman of this foundation, and basically the project of Dr. Rau is the following one. We basically catch children when they are young, and we try to bring to the children first education, and ethics is obviously an important topic there. We do have 25 projects in approximately 16 countries around the world. One of them also here in India at the Gurudev's school project. I think this is so important to have, from the first moment on, to teach children about how to behave. They do not understand the word ethics, but how to behave. Be credible, be fair, fair play. I think this is the wording children understand. And Dr. Rao Foundation has said, okay, because we have difficulties to train children around the globe, we are looking for a train-to-trainer concept. Means that we are training teachers, how they can teach children to behave fair, to behave in an ethical manner. And this is an important part of the project of the Dr. Rao Foundation, the so-called Train the Trainer program. And you know, in some of these trainings, I have visited some of them, a child was standing up and asking how I can become a winner. And the teacher was a little bit, he didn't know exactly what to answer. So I was jumping in by saying, you know, first of all, you have to be fair, and you have to follow your ideas. What do you want to achieve? Make a plan what you want to achieve. Stay fair and try to practice as lot as you can. Practice, practice, and once again practice. Because technique is learnable. This is probably a given technique you have. Football is easy, basically. But you have to practice, practice, practice to become the leader in the German Bundesliga, Premier League. So I think practice is as important as to be fair on the pitch and to play in a credible and value-based way. To finish, a little anecdote. already told this anecdote yesterday, and I know I remarked that I've confused some of the delegates in the room. For business reasons, I met once the famous tennis player Roger Federer, and I asked him, why do you win all the time? The same question the little child asked me, and he said, practice, practice, practice. The next question I had was, but practice, practice, you know the technique, you know how to move, you know, you're totally fit. What makes the difference between you and the number 10 or number 20 players in the world? And he said, it's so important to concentrate during 3 hours, 5 hours. How do you do it? Was my next question. I include breaks in my game, mental breaks. So he's not sitting on the chair, but during the play, he is including mental breaks. And he said to me, you don't see it. I play, I continue to play, I continue to play. Nobody sees that I include in my game mental breaks, just to be so totally focused when it's really going to the finish, and I have to be to beat my number 10 or my number 20. So Roger is building in mental breaks. He learned this, and guess how he learned it? He learned it through meditation. And he is able to do during the playing, including mental breaks, by continuing playing. And this is something obviously probably differs from a tennis player from a real winner. And therefore, my recommendation here to conclude is breaks are important. Any kind of breaks, physical breaks, but also and specifically mental breaks. So when you when you do want to learn something from my little speech, is include breaks in your life, physical breaks and mental breaks. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for giving that softer aspect. Of course, there is practice, but when I've met many players and they say physically they are at the same first top 20 or 30 players in the world. They'll be physically at the same level. But what makes a winner or a champion is the mental aspect. You have worked, you have trained for 1 year, 4 years or more, and then finally it depends on those 3 hours that you're in the court. How is your mind? And like you rightly said, it can be brought about by meditation. Thank you so much, Peter. Let's give him a big hand. So over to Somil. You have done phenomenal work at the ground level as well, and how you have achieved it, and how what are the challenges that you face bringing this sort of sports ethics and education for the children.
Yeah, can you hear me? I had made a few slides just to make it easier to communicate. Is it okay if I stand and talk because the slides here? First of all, thank you. Thank you for being here and thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure and honor to share. Over the last 18 years now, 2003 onwards, we've been trying to solve this problem of getting kids to play. And getting kids to play because they should play, not because they should become champions. Getting kids to play because it's part of life. And our current goal or dream is to get 100 million kids to play. We have no clue how we're going to get there. Absolutely. 100 million happened because some of you who know Hindi know that my name Saumil means 100 million in Hindi. So my advisor said, hey, that's the goal for you. So, so here we are. But on a serious note, I think what I want to spend time here is on maybe 4 words. Less on the why, because I think the why is known. We are all converted to the why of sports ethics, the fact that you're here. But more on the how. And 2 words which are sustainable and scalable that I'm very keen on. Because finally, solutions that we have found, at least in the world of sport, have been islands of excellence. There have been islands doing brilliant work, but it's just not scalable or they're not sustainable. And there's some learning that we've had in trying to solve. And over the last 18 years, I think I've just been tinkering with business models and different programs to say, how do we find a solution? And we have some learnings, and I'm hoping that some of this is useful. On this, I think the most important word is here, children. And not just for sport, but also for education, because these kids are going to be the sports fans tomorrow. Are these kids falling in love with sport? Are these kids falling out of love with sport? Based on that, the entire sports ecosystem changes. Are they moving towards dance? Are they moving towards music? Are they moving towards some gaming? Or are they falling in love with play? And based on that, because that's really fundamentally fans, whether it's sponsorship revenue or media rights or merchandise, right? And education because of a larger context, of course. Can you go ahead to the next slide, or can I control this? Okay, so, this has been said a few times since morning, and it was said again today. The problem that I have is that, yes, we are speaking to the kids in a language they understand, but what are we telling them? What is the language telling them? I speak your language, but what am I telling you? Today kids are being told, without expertly saying it, is play to win, which means if you're not winning, why are you playing? Play to win has become, if you're not winning, adults are telling the kids in their own way, oh, so you're playing cricket? Fantastic. So are you playing for the country? No. So then why are you playing? We're not asking our kids, oh, great that you're having fun playing. Great that you're getting better playing. Great that you're making friends playing. So play to win is getting communicated by us with all our well wishes, saying, oh, I want to see you playing in Football World Cup. I want to see you playing in IPL. But the kids are interpreting adults saying, oh, if I'm not in a school team, then maybe I should not be playing. That's the words that are coming out of sport, of a language that the youth understands. The playgrounds are not inclusive. Playgrounds are competitive and getting even more competitive, which means whether it's PE teachers, except a few like Ganeshan sir who's here from DPS, PE teachers a lot of the PE and sports staff focuses on school team performance. And school team performance by definition means out of 1,000 kids, 40 kids, which means 960 kids are getting nothing. Those 960 kids are being told, if you're not in a school team, you can sit on the side. Don't play. Now, this is the language. In the language that we are using, this is what kids are hearing. So I think we need to first address the problem of, yes, we got the language right, great. What are we saying? And that's where I think this fits in. As to, if this is what we're going to tell our kids, they are going to drop out of sport. If our desire is to keep them in sport for all the things about sports ethics, fairness, integrity, respect, responsibility, all that, first keep them in sport. And if you keep them in sport, then you have a chance in hell of at least teaching them sports ethics. But if they're not going to stay in sport, you're not going to go there at all. So there is a larger educational context of sport ethics, but there's an even more fundamental physical context that I want to bring out. And this is data that we have been working on for the last now 10, 12 years. If you could move ahead. Which is this. This is data from 2.5 lakh kids across 364 schools, 250 cities, 7 to 17 years. You can read it. It's not pretty. 1 in 2 doesn't have the right, 2 in 3 doesn't have the right aerobic capacity, 1 in 3 doesn't have the right flexibility, 2 in 3 doesn't have the right lower body strength, 1 in 2 doesn't have adequate upper body strength. So if kids don't have the fundamental fitness, how will they play? How will they enjoy play? Some of you who are naturally talented will play and will shine. The remaining kids will be, when I combine this reality with the language, they'll say, oh, sport is not for me. Which means you are slowly catering only to the top 1% of a school population, of any population. Because the playgrounds are not welcoming. I think some of this is also happening, if you go ahead, and I'm connecting this to the sport ethics context, is the atmosphere around the playground is not engaging. It's not inclusive. If I'm not a good player, I'm not feeling included into the playground. I'm feeling excluded. Girls in India have a different problem around playing. We have data around how girls are dropping out far more than boys. In my mind, the whole sport ethics context has to first address this, and if I can create a playground experience for my child in a PE period, which is positive, welcoming, engaging, then all the good parts of sport will come. But if the playground experience is competitive, winner take all, cutthroat, if you're not good, stay out, we have a problem. And this data is only meant to present that there is a reality of the playground which we need to think about when we talk about all this. There's a voice of the child that has to come out. And this fitness data is only the outcome of that thing, that kids are switching off from sport. And what do we do? Could you go ahead? So therefore, okay, this is the why, and so I want to switch to how. And I want to come back to those words, how, sustainable, scalable. So all of you know this, kids don't listen, but they do observe and they experience. Right? Try telling a child fairness. Try me telling you fairness. Doesn't work. You're just older kids, by the way. Just to, right? You're all just older kids. Wonderful. Parents, absolutely. Correct. Sure, sure, sure. Well, not really. I mean, I've seen sports across the world, but no, it's not. It's not. So the issue is the same, but I just want to bring back the focus to the 99.9% of the kids who are not in the school team. The 1% of the school team is getting more than enough attention already. They're getting enough brand coverage, they're getting enough TV right, they're getting enough stuff. The 99.9%, which chances are that out of 99 people here, only one child is in that school team. The remaining is where the larger problem is, and that's really what I want to focus on. So, sorry, just go back. Move ahead. So, therefore, how do you observe? How do you get opportunities? Just give me a minute before I run out of time, okay? How do you get opportunities for kids to observe? How do you get opportunities for kids to experience sport, a positive experience? And unless you find a way which is sustainable and scalable for kids to experience sports positively, to observe other kids cheating or following rules or being fair, adults responding to how kids are cheating, how does my coach respond when my colleague cheats? So kids are observing and they're saying, this works. Oh, cheating is fine. The world of sport, news is about cheating, about doping, about scandals. So think of what is the communication going to the kids' heads. And my playground is also competitive, is not inclusive. Now, therefore, they're observing this. How do you fix this? Unless you fix this, we'll keep papering on the symptoms. The problem is here, at scale. And if you could move ahead. Our learning has been that in-school PE, in fact, this morning, the person in Norway also mentioned, don't ignore PE. The in-school PE and sports programs is where the answer is. And making sports as a part of education and sports ethics, therefore, is a part of education process. What I mean by that is, just as you have a maths curriculum, you have a daily lesson plan, you have a syllabus, you have an assessment, you have a trained teacher, and you have a parent report, and you have a normal curve saying, these are the kids who are not so good, these are kids who are outstanding, and how does my curve move to the right every year, is what would happen for me as a maths teacher, and if you're the principal. What happens for a sports teacher? Did you win medals? Yes, very good. Now, when the assessment parameter is medals, how will the behavior be all kids? Right? If I am a PE or sports head, my incentive or promotion is based on winning medals. So why will I worry about the remaining 980 kids? So there is a very fundamental shift we need to make as to what are we assessing. And based on what we assess is what behavior we will get. Right? Parents need to ask, okay, you have a sports program, there are 2,000 kids, 40 kids in the school team, 1,960 kids. What are they getting? Statistically, my child is in that. But I'm paying the sports fees as well. So there is a very fundamental shift that we need to think about. And my proposal is that, and we have some learnings around it, that the school integrating with education is the only sustainable and scalable way. Scalable because I Googled it up yesterday, there are 5 million schools globally. The 700 million kids go to school. This is only Google uncle saying, okay, this is not some deeper research, but roughly, let's assume it's 700 million. 2 PE classes a week, 35 weeks a year. If you can get 70 sessions a year for 700 million kids in the education system around sports ethics, and where it's not a separate lecture, but they are playing and there's an experience which is positive, you won it at scale. The problem then happens is how do you make it sustainable? It can't be that there's one burst of enthusiasm and it gets funded for 2 years and then the enthusiasm goes away and that program just dies. And our learning is that only when you show value to all the stakeholders around, it is sustainable. And we need to move beyond the qualitative, it's very good for us, we must do it, and so on, to showing impact and showing data. And I think that's a trick sport has missed. We keep talking about the value of sport in a very qualitative, high level way, but we don't talk about impact. And so the people who are outside this room who are not converted are not converting. Right? If sport is so powerful, and I'm an entrepreneur in sports for the last 18 years, if sport is so powerful, why aren't parents lining up outside my office? Saying, give me sport, give my child sport. Something is missing in this picture, right? Somewhere the message has not gone out. But if I talk to the parent, they'll say, yeah, they'll give me a lecture on why sports is very good. Right? So there's something that's missing here, and what we try to do is with some data. So here's some data that we have on social emotional learning, where we, for 10 kids who are active, control group inactive, we saw improvement in how they interact with others, we saw improvement in trouble, problem solving, taking initiative, understanding, following instructions, which are like standard tools for maybe doing metricizing a behavior. Right? It's not there can always be holes poked into it, but there's at least some way to get started. If you can move ahead. Fitness quotient, year on year, how is the fitness improving? How is the normal curve moving to the right? How the unfit kids are getting fitter? As the curve moves to the right, that means they're all getting fitter. Now, these are ways in which we can go with data and say, you know what, this works. Can I do something similar for sport ethics? Is there a way to think about a model? And my point is the school part is the scalable part. Data and impact is what makes it sustainable. So then you can have conversations around, hey, here's what I delivered. As again saying, you know what, I'm a very sincere guy, I worked very hard, sport is fantastic, fund it. Because finally somebody has to fund it with time or budget or attention. And I think getting data onto this table of conversations as to how does education include sport is probably the only way to make it sustainable, scalable in schools. Could you go ahead? Yep, that's it. Sustainable and scalable is possible. It's worth it. Thank you.
Samil took us a step back from sports ethics to how do we get them to play sports, yeah, as his motto is, born to play. And it's wonderful what you are achieving and what, yeah. I would like to share that one of our Swamijis, he says, first something comes into the consciousness, then into conversations, and then into conduct. So, as you said, if a child comes home and you only ask them, oh, what medal did you win? Then what are you putting the seed in their head is, oh, winning is important, not the playing itself. So, the 702 schools that we've done, the free schools through the Art of Living, I'm very glad to share that not only do we give nutritious food, but we also encourage fitness. We also encourage fine arts. We also encourage focus with their academics. So holistic, personality blossoms in the child. Yeah. And yes, going further, I would like to open the floor for questions. And if you have anything, we have a few more minutes, about 5-7 minutes. Yes, Milind. Would you like a mic?
So Saumil, your observation was very nice. It's generally you play to win, otherwise why do that? And how do you get your children out of it? We raised 2 children. My wife is here as well. And one of the things that their coaches did for them, they both are good swimmers, was like, okay, your best time for 50 meters is 35 seconds. 6 months from now, I want to see it 34 seconds. You do that, then you've achieved something. Then you've spent your time effectively over here. plus some of the data which you already gave us, saying that the overall um, health parameters are increasing. That's good as well. So some of these things is how, we've seen they work in life. Thank you.
You're right. I think the personal improvement is a better metric to use than winning medals, because winning medals makes it a winner take all zero sum game. Personal improvement, are you getting better, is the best metric to use. Kids, yes. We work with schools. That's why I'm calling it scalable. School already has a PE period. They already have some safe place. They already have a teacher. They already have pick up and drop. They already have parents paying fees, and I'm trying to convince them to give me a small part of that fees to run our program. We don't have a single place. What you would call in the investor world asset light model. You want me to answer it? Is that to me? Is that a question to me? Okay. So that's a tough one. I mean, thank you. So, it's an interesting question, because why sports at whatever level is a very fundamental question. It's like me asking all of you. All of you, I'm assuming, learned biology and history in your school. I'm assuming not many of you are biologists or historians here. So why did you learn it? Right? You should have dropped out of it. Right? So why did we learn chemistry? I mean, so there's a lot of stuff that we learned as a part of education, because you are being prepared for adult life and you're supposed to be productive, holistic, and so on. Therefore, sport for education is a very different construct from sport for career. I think it's a very important thing. Schools are meant for education, not for careers. Right? Therefore, it's very important to say, therefore, measure sports as education. For example, if I am not good in math, the math teacher cannot tell my mother, oh, he's not good in math, keep him out. My mother will eat him alive. Right? Saying, you really spend more time with him if he's a duffer and get him to learn math. Right? But in sports, it's the same thing that happens. You're told and you accept it. Oh, it's a child is not good in sport. Yeah, okay, so get him interested in sport. And what can I do? So I think first construct is to accept sports as education, not sports as career. To your question, it's a very different question at one level. So I have two anecdotes. One is I also played badminton to a certain level, got selected for the Maharashtra badminton team in my 9th, 10th standard, but like a good middle class kid, you chose to. My dad told me, at that time Prakash Padukoon sir was the only person who was, and dad said, look, badminton, there's no money. If you really want to play, at least play tennis and golf. You'll make some money. But I was not so good enough to pursue it. I then continued academics and got into IIT, fortunately. But in IIT Bombay, I could not make it to the badminton team. In IIT Bombay, I thought I was a cool dude saying, oh, I've got selected for a state team and I cleared IIT, so I must be the coolest kid around. I could not make it to the team. And my point with that anecdote is, it is possible to balance sports and education. Anybody who's saying it's not is lying. If you want to do sports and watch a movie and do this and do this and do this, of course it's not possible. But if you want to do it, you can do sports and education together and do well at both. They are not mutually exclusive. From a career point of view, I think it's a risk-reward issue. as a parent, it's one thing to advise somebody else and one thing to tell for your own child, right? I think there is a reality of a risk in a sports career. I mean, Naren choked up in that podium today, right? I mean, look at the level of risk. One injury, you might not be good enough, it's just one part of the problem. It might just be that you get injured or whatever. So risk is very high. So I feel that my parents' generation did the right thing by telling us, become an engineer, become a doctor, because it was safe. Right? You can be an average engineer or doctor and still earn a good living. But you very well have to be a fantastic sports person. Or else you're a mediocre, you're going to do nothing. Therefore, as a parent, I think it's the right decision. Honestly. Only those parents who have the guts to back up that child and say, even if you fail in table tennis as a career, I will back you up. Whatever that backup means. I'll give you the money for a scholarship, I'll give you, fund your education, I'll give you some money to start a company, whatever it is. Only if I had a safety net should I do it. If I don't have a safety net, it's actually not a very smart idea. I was going to say some other word, but not a very smart idea.
I would have loved the discussion to go on. Yeah, it's really interesting. All the three panelists are, they have done amazing work in their own fields. Yeah. In fact, Peter was talking about how we get a child to behave, and from that idea, from that thought in the consciousness, the World Forum for Sports and Ethics with Gurudev's, guidance also began. And it's wonderful that we are sharing this conversation, and there are so many people watching online. I would like to thank everybody. Yeah. And because we are veterans here, but Saumil has just come today, I would like to felicitate him. Yeah. May I invite, who should I invite? Yeah. Sanjeev ji, come. If you could. Yes. So thank you, everybody. Do we have, I was just checking for Shri Priyaji. Jay Priyaji, she was the principal of the sports college, sports school in India. She was, oh, she's in another, okay, fine. And Satish ji? No, okay. Yeah. All right. Fine. Thank you so much. Yeah, it has been wonderful hearing you, your ideas and what you have done. Yeah. Thank you, Saumil. Jai Gurudev, everyone. So have lunch and then we'll be having the next.
Welcome to the factory of Queen Bide in Sofia, Bulgaria. How we do our job? Let me show you.
Yes, a ton of dates, please.
Queen Bide is made out of organic Ngletnur dates. We use them because they have the right level of sweetness, density, and have the highest quality. Don't forget a ton of cashew. Our quality department makes sure that every single delivery we receive is uncompromised, and we send a sample to Germany for pesticides and heavy metal testing. We always double check to ensure authenticity of the documents and product origin. Before entering production zone, all employees must change into factory wear, wash up and put on their gloves, hairnets and face masks. The secret of the perfect Queen Bite bar is how we make the ingredients ready. Since the product is raw, we have to make sure that everything that goes in is simply the best. So, our bars are packed, boxed, and ready to be shipped in Portugal or anywhere else in the world. In our facility, we produce all kinds of customizable organic treats, like cookies, crackers, and even coconut chips. Seeing people enjoy our product is the reason we do what we do best. Making people happy, because every bite of Queen Bite is a bite of happiness.
Pure thoughts always lead to something beautiful. That's why Shri Shri Tattva food products are made with the purest of ingredients and the purest of thoughts. So every meal is filled with health and purity. Shri Shri Tattva, just purity.
Chintu, don't forget to keep the gifts, okay?
Okay, Di.
Pure thoughts can make this world a beautiful place. That's why Shri Shri Tattva personal care products are not just prepared with the purest of ingredients, but with pure thoughts as well. So you remain beautiful inside out. Shri Shri Tattva, just purity.
Are you done packing?
We could plan our honeymoon some other time. Today, Uncle, Dad is more important.
Pure thoughts always lead to something beautiful. That's why Shri Shri Tattva Sudanta Herbal Toothpaste is made with the purest of ingredients and thoughts. So your smile can make this world a better place. Shri Shri Tattva, just purity.